Hi everyone, welcome to All Inspired. My name is Amanda if you're new here, and on my channel we like to do all things inspiring, which is a lot of homemaking content, cooking, cleaning, organizing, DIY, home makeover projects, that good stuff is typically involved in one of my videos, and today is no different. We are getting some routine maintenance cleaning done, but we're also doing some deeper cleaning. I need just the cabinets wiped down. I need a real refresh. I need some deeper cleaning. I'm going to be getting into my spring cleaning coming up soon, but right now I'm really just focusing on getting the house in order, getting just a weekly reset done, getting this house cleaned up. I cannot stress how much I vacuum. You guys probably see it, honestly. Whenever you check out my videos, I'm constantly in here vacuuming. We have this couch, which is in our living room, and then we have the front room area, and we do go in the front room area. The cats go in there a lot. The kids will sit in there a lot when they're reading and stuff like that, but we usually use this couch, and the reason why I'm constantly vacuuming it is because we typically will eat on this couch. We never really eat on the other couch. But I do vacuum that quite often too, just because of the cat hair. But we do eat here. We'll do movie nights here. We'll have snacks here. We often eat on this couch. And so I'm constantly needing to vacuum it. Can y'all relate? I know I'm not the only one out there. I know there's other people with crumbs all over their couch. And I don't even have little kids. We have bigger kids. The youngest is 10, so it's just the way it is. I mean, we all make messes, even the adults. I could blame it on the kids all day long, but to be honest, I create crumbs too, and so do my husband. So we just need to make sure that we get it cleaned up, because I would much rather just sit on the couch every once in a while, just have finger food dinner. We don't do it very often, but it's so great. We did it the other night. We just threw in some stuff into the air fryer, threw it all in there, cooked it up, put it out on a tray, and then you could just pick whatever you wanted. If you follow me on Instagram, you can see it over there. I added it to my stories. That's just a little bit behind the scenes. If you ever want to check that out, go check out my Instagram. I'll have it linked below. But just a fun night, and you know what? That created crumbs. So this is always one of those things that if I want the house to be clean, like really, really clean, like feel super clean, I have to vacuum the couch. The couch needs to be vacuumed. The floors need to be done. The countertops need to be thoroughly wiped down. The bathrooms need to be cleaned. And then I feel like is pretty thoroughly cleaned. I could wait and do my spring cleaning, like the blinds and the baseboards and the walls and all that. That can wait till spring or even till my quarterly cleaning. However, at least twice a month, I have to get in here and just do a thorough deep clean, thoroughly clean these couches. Now I'm spraying it down with some of just my DIY like Lysol spray. I use hydrogen peroxide because from what I've looked up, the hydrogen peroxide and the alcohol sanitize the exact same. It's just alcohol is more gentle on the skin. If you were to treat a wound or something like that, is more gentle on the skin. But I think alcohol smells so strong. It smells clean, don't get me wrong, but really, really strong. So I would rather use hydrogen peroxide. So I use about a quarter cup of hydrogen peroxide, and then I use a tablespoon of fabric softener, and then I just fill my Febreze bottle all the way up, and then I just go around spraying the surfaces. It ends up smelling really, really good. I have a little bit of that fabric softener in there that just smells delightful. And then I have the hydrogen peroxide in there that goes in and gives it a really good sanitize. Now, this is my own DIY spray. I'm not a certified company. I'm not going to specifically say that it will sanitize your surfaces. However, I believe it sanitized mine. And really, it just makes me feel better, and it makes my home smell good. So I create my own. If you want to, go ahead, buy the Lysol products, and you can spray it, and you can have a little bit more peace of mind if that's what makes you feel better. But I feel like the spray works out just fine, and I like creating my own spray at home. I know exactly what's in it, and I do feel like although those Lysol sprays work really, really well, they also have that really, really strong scent that I'm just not into. I want it to smell clean, but I want it to smell good.
Do you want to eat? Oh, Sugar's hungry. Are you so hungry, Coconut? You want to eat? Yeah, you're so hungry? You just want to eat? Oh, I know. I'll get you some food. I will get you some food. Hungry with a kid then. Isn't she so tiny? Look at her compared to Coconut. And she's full grown. She's just petite. That's what the vet said. She's the sweetest. I love you, kittens. Mama get you some food.
This coffee station just seems to be the place that it's just always dirty, always filthy, always needs to be wiped down. It's just because we grind up the coffee and it just kind of makes it a little bit more of a mess. So I often have to give this a deep clean basically every day, but that's okay. I really do need to go ahead and get some cluttering, decluttering, and organizing done in this cabinet, but it's not going to happen today, so you'll have to stick around to future videos to see that. But if you can see up in the right hand corner, that cute little DIY, that is a Valentine's Day box, and I'm actually going to be showing you really soon exactly how we made that. It turned out super adorable, very inexpensive, but I'll show you that in a little bit. Right now, while I'm getting all this nice and clean and I go around to the rest of the house, actually it's my daughter, while I'm getting this nice and clean, she goes around to the rest of the house and she gets the doorknobs and the light switches and just all that good stuff that really just need a deep, deep clean done. But I wanted to talk to you guys about women problems, more specifically menstrual problems. Nobody wants to talk about it, but look, it needs to be talked about, because if you know, then you know, and if you don't, you're about to know. I have had some of the worst cramps ever. That's just the way it's been my whole life. When I was young, I had ovarian cysts and things like that, and I just had really, really brutal periods to the point where I just couldn't get out of bed. I needed a heating pad. I was taking medicine for it, and it still wouldn't alleviate all the pain. And so I ended up going in to see a doctor, and I was diagnosed with endometriosis. And they did go in and try to clean everything up. I mean, basically, if you don't know what endometriosis is, it is an inflammatory disease where your menstrual lining that normally grows inside of your uterus starts growing outside of your uterus, and they do not know why this happens. And they hold on, I'll get back to that in just a minute. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I did this DIY, and I just took 2 Dollar Tree plates, I glued them together, and then I took a Dollar Tree bowl and I hot glued that on top. And I'm making this for my base because I'm going to make a whole whipped cream top. We're actually going for a latte, but this could also go for a cupcake too, because you'll see that before we put the embellishes on it, it really does look like a cupcake. But we just went ahead and grabbed some spray foam. My husband's doing a project in the basement and we had some of this on hand, so I just grabbed this. We were going to use something else, and this just worked out so much better. It applied great, it dried wonderful, it really does look like it could be whipped cream. So we just layered this all the way up to the top. I let this dry overnight, and then I took it down in the basement and I just gave it a coat of white spray paint because it really does have this yellowish tint to it. So I just gave it a real good, nice coat of white spray paint, and then I let that dry, and then one more time I just do a little light dusting of the spray paint just to make sure that it's wet, and then I bring it back up here so that she can decorate the whole entire thing. And we put some paint inside of glue, and we just shook it up really, really well. I used a caramel colored paint to look like caramel, and then we grabbed actual sprinkles that we just have in the house, and we put them on top. She mainly placed it in the little areas where there's glue just to get it to stick, but like I said, I also did that light dusting, and so it's still a little tacky and a little wet so that all the sprinkles could stick to the spray foam. Turns out super adorable. I just used a trash can from the dollar store, and I used just some paper, but if you took off all the embellishments, the latte and the little hearts, it really does, and the straw, it really does look like it could be a cupcake. I cut a hole in the back of the trash can, sprayed it with white spray paint, and then we just embellished it to look like a latte. But this really could go cute at a birthday party, for a card holder. It's really inexpensive. Your kids can help you make the whole entire thing. It's really, really easy, and you really can't mess it up. Super adorable DIY. If you guys are making Valentines this year for your kiddos at school, I highly suggest this. There's many options you can use it for, but just think outside of the traditional Valentine's Day box and make something fun and creative. She had such a good time with this, and she actually loves coffee. She's been drinking coffee since she was really little, not by choice. Ever since before I even met her, she would walk around and steal people's coffee, particularly her grandma's, because that's who babysat her. And she drinks black coffee. So the kid she just really likes coffee. She will prefer it with sugar and cream in it, but she'll drink it black too. She does not mind. She just likes coffee. And so she doesn't drink coffee all the time, but she is a coffee fan, and she definitely enjoys it on occasion. So the latte was super fitting for her. But what do you guys think? Do you think it turned out cute? I really think it turned out cute, and she did such a good job, and she had so much fun doing it. But now that I got that done, I want to get in here. I'm just going to get the dishes done real fast, and then after I get the dishes done, I have to get these cabinets wiped down. These orangey brown cabinets, they gotta go. We're gonna be painting them soon, so if you want to see that, stick around, hit the subscribe button, because I am going to be doing a DIY makeover in this kitchen real soon. It just needs to be done, but for now I need to get it deeply cleaned, just because I didn't realize how dirty these cabinets were. They're so orange, and in our other house we had white, and I was like, oh, you know, I haven't wiped down the cabinets for a while. I should probably do that, and I did, and you'll see coming up the water looks pretty gross. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these dishes loaded and then get those cabinets done. Okay, back to my story with the endometriosis. I just had a lot of problems. We went into the doctor. The only way that you can be diagnosed with endometriosis is by actually doing surgery. So they have to go in, they have to remove some of the cells that are in there, they have to test them, and then that will be your diagnosis whether or not you have it. So he went in and he did what he called a cleanup. So he just tried to remove as much endometriosis as he could. I just had such a hard time. I had a tilted uterus, and it was just, I was miserable. I was always in pain, and I mean debilitating pain where I could not get up. I could not get out of bed. I was sitting there with a heating pad the whole entire time, and so I ended up going in for a hysterectomy, and he did a partial hysterectomy, so I still have my left ovary. And what happens is the cells that leave the uterus and travel into your abdominal cavity, they don't know that they left your uterus and they're in your abdominal cavity. So they grow and they shred each month when you have your menstrual cycle. That's just normal. Every women do that. They grow and then they shed. They should alleviate and come out each month. However, that doesn't happen if they're not in the uterus. So it creates an abundance of scar tissue. And the way that he explained it is my right ovary was just covered with scar tissue. So it's like Spider-Man went in there and just like ching, ching, ching. That's how I imagine the scar tissue looks, because it ends up being kind of sticky, and it can make your organs like stick. And you can have issues like I had colon issues. I had all types of issues, and there was nothing wrong. I went in for a colonoscopy. There was nothing wrong with my colon. What was wrong was the scar tissue had built up in my abdominal cavity near my colon, which was causing me to have so many issues. So we went in, we did a partial hysterectomy. He took out everything except for the left ovary. The only reason he left the left ovary in is because if you take out both ovaries, then you have to have hormone replacement therapy until you would go into menopause, because I'm only in my 30s. That's not, you don't really want to have to take shots every day for the rest of your life so that your hormones are balanced. So they like to try to keep the lesser damaged of the ovaries. And now I may have to go in to have a cleanup done of that ovary, because I'm not doing anything to prevent the endometriosis, because the only thing that I can do to prevent the endometriosis is birth control, and I hate it. I don't know about you guys out there. I don't know about who does it. I know people that are on it that do not mind it, and it does well with them. They're normal, they're regular, they're great. I'm not one of them. I do not like it. It makes me moody. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't feel right in my own skin, and so I opt out of taking the birth control. There's other things that I can do, like I don't eat a lot of dairy, I don't eat a lot of inflammatory foods, because this is an inflammatory disease, and so the more inflammatory items that you eat, the more that it contributes to the disease. So I try to eat foods that are less inflammatory. It's really, really hard though. I mean, I just cutting out like ice cream and stuff. I will have a little bit of ice cream here and there, but for the most part, we used to get ice cream as a treat like once a month. And that has not happened for over a year and a half, because I just cannot, my body cannot tolerate it. I can take a lactose pill and I'll be okay, but I'll feel better if I don't eat it. And it sucks, because ice cream is great. We all know it. We all love it. But it is inflammatory. And so that's my story. I actually had an episode not too long ago, a few days ago, and I was just in so much pain. I could not get out of bed. I'm pretty sure I had an ovarian cyst that that ruptured, but that sounds terrible. To me, I think of a cyst more like a blister, and yes, the blister can pop, especially if you create force. I don't think mine necessarily popped or ruptured. I just was in so much pain all day that I just laid in bed with a heating pad all day. It's been quite a while since I've had one of those days, so I'm so grateful for that. But I just went ahead and laid in bed, and then the next day I was still really, really sore, but I was much more comfortable. So I think, just like a blister, eventually it'll go down and kind of dissipate, and I think that's what happened. But I was just in so much pain, and you guys let me know, do you ever have these problems? Do you ever have extreme cramps? Have you ever had an ovarian cyst? Do any of you guys have endometriosis out there? Do you guys see that nasty water? That water was so nasty. Those cabinets needed that so bad. But yeah, do you guys have any problems like this? I just want to start a chat down in the comments. Just get things going, because for such a long time, I had no idea what was going on with me. Absolutely no idea. When my doctor said I had something called endometriosis, I had never even heard of what that was. I had to do a bunch of research just to figure out what in the world was going on with my body. But once we got it all figured out, I ended up with a wonderful doctor, and he really, really helped me through the process. And I don't know what I would have done without him, because I just felt so lost, and I had no answers as to exactly what was going on. And I actually had a doctor previous to him that when I asked about a hysterectomy, he told me that I was too young. And, I was like 34, but I had already decided I did not want to have any more children. And in all honesty, now that I know what I know now, there's no way that my uterus was even capable of carrying children. It had been destroyed by all the scar tissue. There's no way I could have had any more children. But I ended up switching doctors to this new doctor that wanted to start first with the cleanup. He didn't want to go straight to the hysterectomy, but once that just did not work and I was in so much pain, he opted for the hysterectomy, which was hard. Oh my goodness, you guys, I've had a few surgeries, and that was by far was the worst one I've ever had. You feel like you got hit by a bus and then backed over 4 or 5 different times, and then a car hit you. I mean, it's so rough. So it's not something that you just jump into, but I was miserable. I was on the couch 2 to 3 days a week. That's not who I am. I get up and do things all the time. I don't lay around. That's not my personality, but it was just so devastating to me because I was in so much agony. I just couldn't take it anymore. Can any of you guys relate to that? Do any of you have really debilitating periods? I really strongly suggest you go in to see your gynecologist, because that is not normal. If you cannot take ibuprofen or Aleve or your favorite over-the-counter pain reliever to get rid of the pain from your period, you should seek help. And even if you do take the pain medicine and you still cannot get out of bed for several days, you should go see a gynecologist, because there's something going on, and it typically takes 10 to 15 years for endometriosis to develop to the point of the patient seeking out the doctor. So I highly suggest going into the doctor early, getting this taken care of early, so that you do not end up going through a full hysterectomy or infertility due to endometriosis. Oh man, it's a lot. This was a pretty heavy episode. I didn't think it was going to be like that, but anyways, if you guys have any questions about my journey, about what I've went through, about endometriosis, about your period cramps, this is a good space to talk about it. I feel like most of my audience is women, and we can all relate to these issues, so just drop it in the comments below, and I am just going to go ahead and get this lunchbox nice and cleaned up, and then I'm going to scrub down these counters because I did hop up on them to get the cabinets clean, and then I'll give you guys a nice little look on how everything turned out.